Hello and welcome to the Gospel-Centered Education Podcast. My name is Kelly Allen and this is our host, Tom Argersinger.
This week we're going to be discussing 6 common mistakes that modern parents make. Please join us.
You are listening to the Gospel-Centered Education Podcast, brought to you by Community Christian School in Tallahassee, Florida.
Hello, thanks for tuning in. We have a very interesting topic today, I think. At least I think it's interesting.
It is.
And it's 6 common mistakes that many modern parents make.
Yes.
Particularly about raising and educating kids.
Yeah.
So let's just jump in. We got some interesting things, I think.
First of all, I feel called out on this episode.
Do you? I'm so sorry. That was not the intention. Oh, I was going to say at the beginning before we jump in, and that is, I've said this many times, but I want to say it again. It's kind of a bit of a provocative title, right?
Yes.
It's like, first of all, not every parent makes all of these mistakes, or maybe even any of these mistakes.
Yeah.
But they are common.
Yeah.
And like, well, how do I know? Well, I'm old. I've been around a long time. I've sat across the table from hundreds, if not thousands of parents. Plus I have 4 kids.
Yeah.
6 grandkids. So, I don't know what that qualifies me for, but maybe a little bit of insight into this issue. So just as a bit. Yeah,
and doing research for this episode, I had to think twice about some of these myths that we're about to go into.
I think we revealed, you did a great job with the research as always, and I think some of the things that were revealed there were just things that are so not that surprising given the culture and where we're at.
Exactly.
So let's jump into the first one.
Yeah, so the first one would be every child is 100% unique.
Right. That's
and
kind
I
of
want
the
to think
cultural
my
narrative.
child is 100% unique.
Yes. Yes. I want you to read the beginning of the Google AI answer to this because I think this is great.
Yeah. So
I think it's interesting.
I typed this into Google and Google has an AI response now. And I said, is every child unique? And the response was, yes, every child is unique due to a combination of their unique genetic makeup, their individual experiences, their specific environment, and I want to believe that.
Yeah, of course we do. And so I am going to come now and say, no.
You're going against Google.
You're totally, I'm going against Google and AI. There's probably going to be somebody at the door later. But I'm going to say, what I'm really going to say is sort of.
Okay.
I think it's yes and no.
Okay.
So is it I'm going to pick on the Google answer real quick. Is every child unique in the sense that they have a unique genetic makeup? Sure. Do they have individual experiences? Yes. Is their specific environment unique? Yeah. So as far as it goes, yes, that's true. But I'm going to harken back just for a second to something we've talked about before and recently, and that is that every kid has certain uniqueness about them, and they've listed 3 of the things. But that doesn't mean they don't have a lot of things in common with all human beings.
Yes.
And that's why we need these nuanced answers, right?
Yeah.
Because ultimately, for example, low-hanging fruit, no pun intended, every kid needs food and shelter. That's something we all have in common as human beings.
Right.
All kids need to have security and a sense of identity and to feel like they're loved and accepted, etc. A purpose in life, meaning in life. That's not unique to any one individual. Everyone needs that.
That's true.
So if you're an educator and Maslow's pyramid of felt needs and all this kind of stuff, that's what he talks a lot about that. And so that's when I say it's yes and no. Yes, in one sense, every kid is unique. In another sense, we're really not that unique. And then we get into things like calling, the big C calling all Christians have. That's not unique to an individual. It doesn't matter what your personality is. I was thinking about this. I think a lot of the tendency to move towards that end of this pendulum, it's like that we're all 100% unique, is because we've been really influenced by psychology, I think, over the last 100 years. And so psychology is going to do what Google did and major, I think, on that part. That, we're basically all animals. from a non-Christian standpoint, we're all animals, and therefore we have that in common too, whatever. So, well, actually, that would be something that we do have in common they should talk about.
Right.
But anyway, because anyway, so we won't go down that road. We're not exactly animals anyway. Long story right there. So anyway, all that to say, so I think it is yes, and it's also no.
So, and there's like a whole like Christian aspect to it, right? So if I go to approach this question and I'm not a Christian,
right,
then I guess I don't really have the understanding that I would need in order to figure out how, we really are.
Yeah, what do we have in, and that's kind of a question, right? What do we have in common?
Yeah.
And that gets back to some of the things I just mentioned, but
right.
The idea that God has created us in His image.
Yeah. So
and
we
really,
are created
in
an image.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a purposefulness, and we're created in His image, whether we are currently Christians or not, whether we accepted what God has done for us or not, we're still created in His image,
right?
According to the Bible, and so therefore that is a commonality.
Yeah.
Now, I think the biggest question with all this is, who cares? Does it matter?
Yeah.
I would say it matters a lot.
Yeah.
Because people that believe that their child is 100% unique, not you, people.
Yeah, hey.
Just people out there, okay? People out there who believe that influences how they raise their kid.
Yeah, it's almost like you're starting from scratch and you have to just watch your child to try to figure out your child.
That's right.
But if they aren't all unique.
That's right.
They have certain needs
and that influences how you set rules.
Yeah, exactly.
How you see standards. We're going to talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's a good first question, because if you don't buy into the fact that we do have very important commonalities as humans, including kids, then the rest of it's going to start to get off kilter from a biblical perspective.
Yeah.
So this is asking people to let's go a little deeper on those kinds of fundamental questions.
Exactly. Yeah, and it kind of makes me think of what we were talking about a few weeks ago, the creation, fall, redemption, and restoration.
Yeah.
That applies to all of us. You know, we're all created in His image.
Yeah, we're all on a trajectory.
We all, have fallen from that.
100%, right. So the meta-narrative of the way life is supposed to work, we equally have that narrative in common, and that matters in very specific ways. How we act, how we think about morality and ethics, how we raise kids, all those kind of things.
Yeah.
Yep, it all does connect. Yep.
Yeah, so another common thought that parents have is that my primary role as a parent is to make my children happy as much as possible. And I honestly, Tom, I want to make my children as happy as much as possible.
Yes, but notice what it's, and you know what? I am not. I know it appears that I'm a Grinch in many ways, but it's not that I'm trying to be a Grinch. But that's why I inserted the qualifier, right? The primary role. And so to me, it's kind of like the way St. Augustine used to talk about the way we order our lives. And actually, Aristotle talked about it before him. How we order our lives matter. And actually, I think it was Augustine said, how we order our loves matters. So there's going to be that list of things that are in our role, right? Providing food for your kids. That's probably important. Maybe not too much food, maybe the right kind of food, but there are qualifiers. But basically, and basically shelter. Some clothes. It's amazing how few clothes you really need. I know that's another whole.
The new jeans that are.
I'm not even going there. Flares are back in. I heard. Is that true?
Okay, I don't know about that.
I don't know. We should ask somebody.
Yeah.
I don't really care that much, but
skinny jeans are out. I know that.
What?
Skinny jeans are out.
Skinny jeans are.
They're out.
See, thanks for telling me now. Okay, good.
Letting everybody know.
So anyway, I think it goes back to the primary role. What's the primary role of parenting? It is not, I don't believe the primary role, the number one top of the pyramid role, is to make the kids happy. And partially because, good luck. It's like if the primary role of our individual lives is to be happy, happiness makes a really terrible goal. It makes a great secondary effect, but it's not a very good goal, because people that hone in on that inevitably become very self-centered and self-referential and
true.
frankly selfish. But if you follow the biblical mandate for how to live life with wisdom, to live life well, then in the end, or not just in the end, but as you go through, you begin to realize I can find happiness when I'm moving the things out of my life that shouldn't be there, and I'm bringing the things into my life that should be there. Then happiness is easier. Like in the areas of my life where I am not very happy right now. Because, listen, everybody has those areas, right? Almost always, 99.9% of the time, I look at that when I really stop and reflect, and I go, that's there. That unhappiness is there because I am not seeing something the way Jesus would see it. Or I'm not doing something I should be doing, or I am doing something I shouldn't be doing. In other words, I'm committing a sin. And so, but that's hard, right? It requires reflection. It requires sitting back and thinking, which, by the way, quick sidebar, that's why at CCS and gospel-centered schools, we believe in the power of silence. Creating space for people to reflect. Because if you never, we've talked about this, if you never do it, you will never come to conclusions on these things. So is it a role to make your kids happy? Yes. But not the primary role, which begs the question.
Yeah.
What is the primary role?
What is the primary
role?
role?
What do you think? If it's not happiness, what comes to mind as something that might be the primary role?
You know, something I learned a long time ago is, because parenting can be overwhelming.
100%.
But
especially today.
God really simplified it for me. He said, just point them to me.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
And that looks different. That's.
It seems reductive, because every kid's totally unique. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
So it seems reductive to say that.
Yeah.
That just point to Jesus.
Yeah.
But it's really true.
Right. In every single situation, every single day.
Yes.
And it looks different.
Yes. Right. And if Jesus is made a vital part of everyday life.
Yeah.
And there's a reference there. Like a lot of times I ask kids this, and I ask teachers this, and I ask parents this. When's the last time Jesus came up organically in a random conversation? Or anything to do with any sort of biblical truth? When's the last time that just happened to come up? It wasn't church, it wasn't Bible class, it wasn't a class in a Christian school, it wasn't youth group, mission trip, it was normal life. I would say that the more that you can say as a parent, it just comes up. It's just because it's part of who we are, it's part of how we live.
It's your worldview.
It's your worldview, very good. And so therefore, it will come up. It's not like you got to make a list and set a reminder on your phone. It's like, I haven't talked about Jesus today. That's not all we're talking about. Because if we're really following Him, and we're moving towards our true self in Him, then He's just going to come up. Something goes wrong, and the first thing is going to be, well, we probably should pray about that.
Yeah.
Because that's the normal Christian response when stuff comes up. So I think the primary role, I agree with that. I think the primary role is pointing kids to Jesus, and that includes modeling Jesus in everyday, normal everyday life.
Yeah.
And then secondarily, I would put right behind that, because it's kind of similar, it's related, is we're supposed to be creating character in our kids.
Yes.
And that requires us to set a family standard that may not fully square with the world. We're going to get to some of that.
Yeah, along the lines of modeling it for our kids,
Yes.
I did come across something about the major cause of teenage rebellion.
Yes.
And it was talking about hypocrisy. You know, saying
sure.
you believe something and not modeling it in front of your children.
Right.
That'll cause them to rebel against what you say.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. And so if we want to put into simple terms, being one way at work or in church or wherever, and another way at home.
Yes, and specifically, it'll be in the show notes, but it's from the tituswoman.com. She was talking about how she yelled at her kids before church and then was totally nice, like once she got to church, and that made her child mad at what she saw.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and as you start to stack these things up, that just gets back to what you said, which a little while ago, which is parenting is hard.
Yeah.
Especially today.
Yeah.
And that points us back to the reason it's not just raising kids, but it's everything. Like, you have to live with Jesus. That's the only way you get through it, right?
Yeah.
So the third one. The third point is about rebellion. What is that?
And it's rebellion is normal. Mm-hmm. And that's just the thought. Rebellion is normal in kids.
And again, we go to the Google AI.
Yes.
Da-da-da-da-da-da. What does Google AI say?
So I asked the question, is it normal for kids to rebel against their parents?
Yes, and I can't wait to hear the answer.
And Google AI answered, yes, it is normal for children to rebel against their parents it is healthy and part of their development into independent adults.
Right. So the kids are 100% unique, and they all rebel.
Yeah, that's
which is, you can tell
Google.
the AI is not a parent in some ways. So again, so let's talk about that for a second. So is it normal for kids to rebel against their parents? It depends on how you define the word rebel. Mm-hmm. Long time ago, youth minister, I'm pretty sure it's passed on now, Dawson McAllister said, of many really cool things he said, that when I was doing youth work, which you've done, I remember that, remembered this, or saw this, and he basically said, resistance is normal, rebellion is not. Sounds super simple, almost reductive, again, whatever, but is that, yes, that distinction is very, very important. Because if you literally believe what Google AI says, and that is every kid will rebel, then you have no scale. I think we used as an example, we were talking before the episode started filming, if a kid says, I don't want to do family movie night on Wednesday because I'm 16 now and I just think I don't need to do that. Is that rebellion, or is that just resistance against a family norm? I think it's probably just resisting a family norm.
Yeah.
If the kid says, I am not going to listen to anything you say to me, and I am going to blow you off, and I think I'm smarter than you, and I'm going to disrespect you publicly, or whatever, go fill in the blank, now you're into the rebellion territory. And whether you're rebelling against God, which is often the case, or rebelling against your parents as your authority, because what you're really doing is you're rebelling against authority. That's really what it boils down to, or you're choosing a different authority. So I would say, again, nuance. Resistance is 100%, and back to their point, because doesn't it say somewhere in here that this is how, it says here, this often occurs during adolescence as teens first search for their identity, seek autonomy, and navigate peer influence. Yes, that's true. If a kid doesn't resist at all, it's scary.
It is.
Because somebody's not paying attention.
Right.
Somewhere, right? So resistance is 100% normal. But rebellion in that really powerfully negative sense is definitely, it's not normal. It happens. And today, frankly, and again, now we got to talk about what the word normal means.
Yeah.
It's pretty common that kids rebel today. But it shouldn't be that way, even with sinful kids and sinful parents. It shouldn't be that way. So again, nuanced definitions of words are really important in raising gospel-centered kids.
Yeah, I think you can apply biblical truth to that, and you say, if my kid's not honoring,
Mother
me,
and father,
then that's not normal.
Yeah.
And that we do need to correct that. But just not wanting to do a family movie night is not dishonoring you. It's just having your own opinion.
Right, it's having your own opinion, which is the whole point of kids growing up, is that they do begin to have their own mind, and they can discuss it respectfully with you. It's like, here's all the reasons why I don't want to go to family movie night.
Yeah, it's probably important to allow them the opportunity to.
Yeah, and besides that, it's usually hysterical. I mean, listening to the kids reasoning about, the 16-year-olds reasoning about why they don't want to, let me just talk about this, because really I feel like it's my opportunity to become someone, more adult, and I'm finding my own, and you're just like, you just want to go out tonight. Yeah. That's really what that's the whole thing. But anyway, so I think it's important to keep those nuances in mind as we go forward. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I think so. Okay, so the next one is children from Christian homes shouldn't struggle with deep questions of faith, and doubt is scary. Yeah, and so the question that accompanies that is it normal for people to doubt? And even more so than if it is normal, is that okay? Well, yeah, golly. I think doubt is pretty normal. It's common. And I think it's actually not just common, but I think it's okay, in my opinion. I think Scripture would back that up in many different ways, and the way I think in a general way it would back it up without using just proof textings, which I would say is that the Scripture backs up the idea of doubt by saying God already knows. He already knows where we stand before we ever utter a word out loud or even in our head. He already understands and He knows. Secondly, His goal is a personal relationship with us, and that personal relationship should be based on honesty. So if you just go around saying, yeah, I'm good, hey, yeah, I praise Jesus, whatever it is, but inside you're going, I'm not even sure if any of this is really real.
Right.
And there are certain situations and circumstances that almost demand that people do that, and frankly, demand that Christian kids do that. I personally think that is super unhealthy for that Christian kid, because all they're going to do is end up denying the questions, whether it's a doubt or not, but the question or the doubt that they have.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to bring up, just the importance of asking questions about your faith.
Good, yeah.
Yeah, I think CCS does that really well, where you guys create, you create that room for kids to ask questions.
Yeah.
And I think that's important in a family,
Yeah.
because I think doubt is normal, and questions need to be asked. And if you feel bad about doubting in whatever area of your faith, and you don't ask those questions, then that's just gonna, I think, fester, and then
100%, yeah. It usually doesn't lead good places.
Yeah.
I would also say, I agree with everything you just said, and I would say kids also have a responsibility in this. Because, again, back to the resistance and rebellion thing, a lot of kids I've found a lot of kids that do have serious, valid doubts, the way they express those is in a context of just real disrespect and rebellion against the authority of the parents or the teacher. Well, so again, nuance, right? It's okay for you to ask questions, but if you're just attacking everybody and you're not using some sort of at least a balanced way to think about it and not open to anybody else's opinion, well, that's going to be less successful. But I agree with you. I think the basic deal is, if kids are not allowed to ask questions of you as a mom, they will ask them of someone else. Yeah. And that someone else is going to give them, perhaps, a very different answer.
Yeah. I think it's very important to be approachable for your child to be able to ask questions.
But let's be honest, right? As a mom, that can be scary. Yeah. Because kids can say stuff and you're like, what? Yeah. What did you just say? Yeah. And I frankly think smart. This is a theory, totally a theory. I think smart kids sometimes do that on purpose.
Try to throw you for a loop,
or just to see. I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to test the waters to see if it's safe. Yeah,
so, maybe.
And so they're like they ask this way outlandish question that's way over here, and they may or may not fully even. It may not even be their thing, really. But it's a test to see, how is mom or dad going to respond to that question? And so you have to practice. And if you need to do this in front of a mirror, it's a good thing. Yeah. So you're practicing in front of a mirror, so somebody just says, whatever. I'm not going to use an example, but whatever it is that's just kind of out there. And you just have to practice as a parent going, wow, thanks for sharing that. Now I'm going to tell you all the reasons that's terrible. No, all the reasons, that can't be true. Yeah. So, but you do have to start with just by saying, is this a safe space in our relationship as kids? I'll tell this. So I've recently hung out with one or two of my kids, and we ended up having these conversations till 3 a.m. Now, why kids only want to talk From 11 p.m. on, I have no idea where this even is.
Well, if it's your kids, it's because their kids are in bed.
Well, that's true if they
They're
have
just
kids,
busy
right?
during the day.
But look, all growing up, same thing.
Yeah.
You know, we have what we called the parlor, and basically I would go in there and be reading or doing something, and you know, somebody would come in and go, hey, we need to talk to you about something, and so they would literally be like 11 o'clock at night, and then here it is, it's a school night, I have to go to work, they have to go to school, and it's 2:30 a.m. and we're like having this awesome conversation. I wouldn't change one of those. It's hard.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't change that because, and by the way, just a plug for that, right? Sometimes parents are like, I don't understand why my kid doesn't talk to me. I don't understand why they don't talk to me. Well, put your doggone phone down. Maybe they want to. Maybe you're not paying attention. And can I say that as long as I'm in trouble, we'll go a little farther. I want to say this directly to dads. Why don't your kids, what was the stat I learned last year, I think it was? We talked about it on a podcast last year, I think. The average amount of time that a father in America talks to their kid one-on-one is like 8 minutes.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
Something like that,
Yeah,
7 or 8 minutes. Not much time. And I'm just like, I get it. We're all busy. Hey, you know what? In 10 years, it won't matter that you were too busy.
Right. We're stuck to our schedules.
Yeah, and if we're stuck to our schedules to the point where we're going to use that, I'm just, again, being straightforward.
Yeah.
If I as a dad use my schedule as an excuse for not connecting with my kids and having that space, safe space and being open, shame on me. Because I'm going to regret that. Probably going to regret that when time goes on. As time goes by. So I think we should create a space where kids can respectfully express their doubts. And then we have to examine ourselves and ask the question, why as a parent is this so scary? Well, we know, right? I mean, what are we afraid of? They're going to go off the deep end.
Yeah, and two, like, we don't want to be wrong.
Yeah.
You know, or admit that we don't know.
Oh, that's a good one. Talk about that. That's a good point.
Yeah, I think we have to, you know, create that space where we can say, I don't know that, but let's look it up together.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great point. I've heard a lot of parents over the years, they'll say, well, I'm not a theologian, I'm not a pastor, I'm not a youth leader, I don't teach in a Christian school, so I don't know the answer to those questions.
Yeah.
Well, this goes back to are we all 100% unique, or are there certain things that are common to all Christians that we should be able to do? Yeah, there are. To be able to handle the Word effectively, Word of God effectively, that's, Timothy says, the book of Timothy says, that's all of us that are supposed to do this, not just the professional Christians, right? So if we don't know the answer to something that requires biblical input, or we're not sure, ask. Look it up.
Look it up. I was just going to say that. Yeah.
Be careful of using Google AI though, because that's
Don't use Google AI.
Yeah, that could be bad. All right, let's go on to the next one.
Okay, the next one is easy access to technology is normal, and necessary for well-being and group acceptance. Sorry.
Yeah. So I'm not sure I worded that very well, but go ahead.
So the question is, what role should personal technology and personal tech play? Right.
Yeah. So the idea was supposed to be beginning. I don't think I did a very good job of writing that, but what I've heard over and over again is personal easy, regular access to personal technology is essential for my kids' well-being and for group acceptance. That's the narrative. If I don't allow them to do that, it will be net negative. In the end, they will be harmed by this.
It reminds me of that story of the kid on the bus, and the bus driver passed out, and everybody was on their phones except for that one kid who wasn't allowed to have his phone. Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember this story.
Okay, this is a news story. This actually happened.
Okay.
He wasn't allowed to have a phone. And so all of the other kids on the bus were on their phone and didn't notice that the bus driver had passed out.
You're kidding.
Well, this young man got up and saved the day by parking the bus somehow.
That is crazy.
Yes, because
I hadn't heard that story.
Yeah, so you have more situational awareness.
Yeah. And in that case, it was a big deal.
Oh, for sure.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. So again, I guess there's a lot of ways to look at this, I suppose. But one of the ways you can look at it is to say, first of all, I get it. I want to say, first of all, I get it. Mm-hmm. If you just don't give it your kid a phone, mm-hmm. and they're 18, and they've never had a phone for whatever, that's tricky. It just is. But we're not really talking about that, right? Remember back to Jonathan Haidt and the anxious generation, we're not talking about never giving a kid a phone.
Yeah.
We're talking about what kind of phone, when, and what does that look like and how you manage it in the family.
Yeah, what they're allowed access to.
What they're allowed access to, or just in general, Mm-hmm. I think parents today have to answer all these weird questions that I never had to answer as a parent, like, should we install tracking software?
Yes.
Or an app that we can track. I know where you're up. I know where you're up. And you're texting the kid. I know where you are. Look what you're doing. Look what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it's like, and for people that love control, they love this.
Oh, for sure.
And of course, in their own minds, in their defense, they're going, well, I'm protecting my kid. Mm-hmm. Well, you're also training them that you don't trust them. Mm-hmm. I'm getting myself in a watch.
See, I think we've brought this up before. Yeah. And I never thought of it that way because I have the tracking apps on my kids.
Yep. And most people do.
And it's very convenient. It's peace of mind.
Yes.
You know where they are, where they're going.
Yes.
And but to a certain extent, it's less I don't trust them, but it's I don't trust the world.
Which means, yes, but the corollary point is I don't trust them to be able to handle the world I don't trust.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and by the way, again, I'm not trying to put down everybody who has tracking apps at all.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying just because of you. I'm just saying in general. As I've said, parenting is super complicated today.
Yeah.
But it is a point that's not talked about much. Mm-hmm. Most everybody goes, well, of course you have tracking apps for your kids. What if they do something wrong? What if they do? Mm-hmm. Well, then you got to deal with it, right? And well, how will I know? And a lot of questions like that. But yeah, but if I'm a kid. If I'm a 16-year-old kid and I've not really done much wrong, and my parent automatically installs an app on my phone that mm-hmm. tracks me everywhere I go, mm-hmm. that's just like yelling in my ear going, I don't trust you, man, to do the right thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's me. Maybe that's not everybody, but anyway. So
I agree, and I didn't always think of it that way.
Yeah.
But in researching this on Barna.com, he talks about the 6 tech habits changing the American home. And
this is good.
Yeah. But it goes along with what you were saying, and the research says that monitoring technology makes parenting even more difficult.
Yeah.
And this is in 2017 that this was taken.
Right. That's a while ago, yeah.
Yeah, it says nearly 8 in 10 parents, 78%, believe that they have a more complicated job in raising their kids today than parents did in raising them.
I can't believe there's like 22% that would say no to that. I mean,
I know.
I bet you if you did the survey again today, it'd be like 98%.
Oh, yeah, because
it's obvious.
It's just increased so much.
100%, yeah.
So I thought that was interesting.
It is. And while we're on that subject of what Barna said, I think it's like number 2 is life truly happens in the living room.
Yeah.
I thought that was an awesome point.
Yeah.
They spend most of their time in the family in that space. Kitchen comes in second, mm-hmm. et cetera. Mm-hmm. And that gets back to, how you're living life with your kids on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Full 7 in 10 parents say they sleep with their phone next to them. This, again, I guess this was 2017.
Yeah. But I would say that probably has increased because, your phone, like I sleep with my phone next to me because it's my alarm.
Right. Yeah.
It is.
I get it. Parents might limit kids, this is number 4, parents might limit kids' device usage, but don't eliminate it.
Right.
And of course, back then they were spending an average of 5 hours on an electronic device. I'm pretty sure that's, if I remember the research from last year, it's more than that now.
Yeah.
Number 5, video games and family time dominate after school hours. I mean, I don't know a lot of older kids that family time dominates their after school hours. Maybe it is.
I don't know.
I think they left out sports.
Yeah, it's true. Is that considered family time?
Well, I guess yeah, sure. Okay,
Maybe.
It depends on how you look at it. Yeah, maybe it is. You can tell from all the bleary-eyed parents on the sideline of yet another track meet that goes 8 hours, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Or travel teams or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And lastly, number 6, parents say tech disrupts the dinner table.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I got to say, actually, have you guys made rules like around the dinner table?
Yeah. So we eat dinner together every night.
Which is huge,
yes.
by the way. Yep.
And so there's no phones at the table.
Yep.
Now, when we go out to eat, while everybody's talking, they're allowed to do their phones, but when eating happens, they have to put their phones down.
Well, the thing I love about that, Kelly, is that you guys are thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
The thing I struggle with is people that don't really think about it, and they just kind of like, it's just a default.
Yeah.
Of course, kids are going to spend their entire time with the family or at the dinner table or whatever it is on their phones.
Right.
Because, hey, what we're saying is boring.
Right.
What? So it's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, I thought those were actually very good, those Barna things. And just a quick shout out for Barna. If an average parent is watching this, let's say, or even a youth worker or anybody, and you don't know about George Barna's work, it's super helpful. So check it out. It sounds really good.
It really is.
All
okay.
right.
The next and last one that we're going to talk about is disciplining to a true standard will result in a net negative for my child.
Oh, yeah.
And
okay.
And the question is, should standards always be tailored to the individual child?
Right. So I'm going to restate it because there's a lot in there. Disciplining, so the narrative we hear a lot is disciplining to a true standard, which means objective standard, will result in a net negative for my child. And therefore, the question becomes, should standards always be tailored to the individual child? Well, number 6 connects with number 1. If your child is 100% unique, you will say, to be actually congruent with what your beliefs are, you would have to say, there is no objective standard. Every kid's different, so every standard, which of course, really the definition of the word standard is no longer in play then.
Right.
So it's all just whatever you think for that individual, which is a whole ethical system, by the way. Situational ethics, personal ethics. There's no group norm, really. It's just whatever my family or just whatever the individual requires. So again, I think, is this a problem? Yeah, this is a real problem. Which is, by the way, this is a little bit of a sidebar, so I'll keep it really short. One of the things that, if you read people that are smart people who are thinking about America as a whole, one of the things they say is, one of the things that's eroding slowly but surely is the rule of law. The idea that this law that's made for everyone applies to me. I've heard this firsthand. It's like, yeah, I get that's the law, but the way I see it is this, and so I'm just not gonna do that.
Wow.
There's some reason that came up in my life that makes that law not relevant. Because at the end of the day, I get to decide. They, capital They, they don't get to decide. I do. Which I think at the end of the day makes it really hard to be a Christian. Because God decides. He has standards that are capital S. And because we all have a commonality as human beings, regardless of our personality and talent and bents and all that, regardless of that, so therefore those standards apply to everybody. And I think those people that are concerned about the rule of law, I think they're right, because that's what keeps America coherent, is a rule of law. If that starts to and if everybody's doing that and going, well, that doesn't apply to me because of this.
That's interesting. I've never heard of that.
Yeah, there's a lot of people writing about that, and I think and a lot of Christians are writing about that. Because if you do not have objective standards for your home that are true for all your kids and that align with a larger biblical objective standard, then what do you have left? You have every individual kid decides, or I decide, or it's situational, and which is hard for kids. Like, oh, that's wrong. You shouldn't do that. And then tomorrow it's like, oh, that's fine. By the way, sidebar for all the teachers out there. I
was gonna say, please relate this back to teaching.
Yeah, if you want to mess up kids really well, just do that.
Yeah.
And all the kids out there in the audience, if there are any, I think there probably are some going, yeah, exactly. And the same thing is true of parents. Same thing is true of parents. You know, you want to have a stable sort of standard. Should that standard be thought through, and is it exactly the same list in every way? No, that's the whole point. Like, yes, because the kids, there are uniquenesses. But the basic standard, I'll give you an example. This is an interesting conversation I have a lot with parents. Disrespect. Is disrespect okay? Often, what I hear today is, it depends. If the kids feel really strongly about something, then I'm glad that they're speaking their mind, they're speaking their truth, some people would say. And you know, that feels like disrespect, but it's not really disrespect because they're just speaking their own truth. Is that really what it is? Is that really what it is? Or is it really the fact that they're saying it in such a way that is disrespecting your own authority, which we've already established doesn't mean they have to agree with everything you say.
Right.
That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
I think that's what people are afraid of. But that's not it. It's the fact that you're expressing in a respectful manner a difference of opinion or whatever. So, but that doesn't still mean there's not a standard. Another good example is, a specific example is curfew times. So when your kids start to drive, are you going to have curfew?
So,
there's a story.
Okay, so I've already thought about it because mine's not driving yet, but she's about to.
Right.
And so I've thought about it, and the law says, I mean, they have to be in at a certain time.
Okay.
And so I thought I'd just go with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, depending on the situation in the day or whatever, I mean, they could need to be home. But that's like kind of a good solid, like, hey, 16-year-olds have to be in at 11, so do you. So
it's an external standard.
I guess.
No, it is. I mean, it's an external because it's the law of the land.
Yeah, I mean,
right.
Can't do anything about that.
And then if you guys decide at some point, because what is it for 16?
11.
It's 11?
Yeah.
On a school night? I'm just saying.
Well, that's where you have to get into it. That's where you have to be. Well, if it's a school night, no, you have to.
Yeah. And again, I'm not picking at you. I'm just simply saying, I'm really not trying to pick at anybody. I know it seems that way, but I'm really not. I'm just simply, what I'm trying to do is provoke people to think.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to do. And not just do stuff, which is so common today. We're not necessarily always very thoughtful about these things. Or, back to the fear, we're afraid that we're going to mess it up.
Yeah.
And then what happens if we mess it up?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you've said this, you ask forgiveness, and you go on and you go from there. So, So, disciplining to a true standard will result in a net negative for my child. Not if it's done out of love, and not if it's done consistently.
Yes, and I think you do need to call out that distinction when you want to create a space that your child can talk to you. But if they're being disrespectful, you need to call that out.
Yes, because the way you look at it is, if they're disrespectful to you as a parent, then they most likely will be disrespectful to the bosses they have.
Yes.
They will be disrespectful to their spouses. And I know this, people are going, oh, no, now you're just generalizing. Look, one of the advantages of having lived quite a while and being in the areas I've worked in, I'm not making this stuff up.
Right.
You see it happen all the time. And so it's like, if you have a 4-year-old who is pushing back on every single boundary you make all the time, you got a couple of choices, right? You can go, love that strong will. This kid's going to be awesome. And you know what I would say to that? Yes. When that is redeemed, it will be awesome for the kingdom. But when it's unredeemed, it is not awesome. It's a problem.
Yeah.
Because now what's happening is, back to the previous discussion, that kid is rebelling.
Yeah. Yes.
That is not okay from a biblical standpoint. And again, everything we do as parents, we're supposed to be mimicking in some way our relationship with God. Is it okay for us to rebel against our ultimate authority? No, it's not. That's called sin, rebelling against God's authority. Yeah. So anyway, I think I won't throw you under the bus. I have delved into a lot of tricky territory today because people get very defensive about this. They don't like to be told, maybe you're not doing something right. And we did, by the way, for the record, as we close, we did not do everything right. And our kids, but I've had told you this, our Thanksgivings, as when we had all the kids before they all got married and moved everywhere, we would have these group Thanksgivings after they were adults, like in college and stuff. They'd all come back and they would all sit around the table and laugh hysterically about all the things we did wrong as a parent. They would also tell us all these things, like they would be talking among themselves. It's like, we're right here.
Yep.
And they'd be like, you know what? Remember that time we went and did X, Y, Z? And we're like, what? You did X, Y, Z? We had no idea this was happening.
Oh my goodness.
So I mean, all that's pretty normal, but and fortunately, it was never anything really horrible. But it all comes back to the way I would kind of bring everything back around, Kelly, today is, as I said at the beginning, I'm not just trying to diss parents. Parenting is extremely difficult. I would agree with Barna's research. It's never been harder. But what that should mean is we need Jesus and the Word of God and the Holy Spirit more. Not less, more. So if you put those statistics we had a couple of weeks ago about are people engaging with the Word, are they reading, are they meditating? You cannot, I'm going to say this out loud, you cannot parent well in a biblical sense without having a vital walk with Jesus on a daily, near daily basis in the Word, prayer, all of meditation in the Word, all that.
Amen.
Doesn't work.
I agree.
And on that note, I think we're going to end for today.
Okay.
Really appreciate you guys tuning in as always. And remember, if you forget everything else that I or Kelly say, remember that Jesus is Lord and over everything. And our job is to live the kingdom every day. Take care.
Thank you for listening to the Gospel Centered Education Podcast, brought to you by Community Christian School in Tallahassee, Florida. You can find us online at myccs.org.